This is my second talk, and this time I'll be talking about The Right to the City by Henri Lefebvre. And he wrote in 1967 about the need to change urban planning and kind of revise how the city's conceptualized. He said, change life, change society. These ideas lose completely their meaning without producing an appropriate space. He felt there was a lesson to be learned. This is his UK trading card. So you see he's a French sociologist. He wrote from 1905 to 1901 to give you all the background information. He's also a neo-Marxist, a lot of which I think that you can see throughout his writing. So he woke up and smelled the classroom, as this man does too. And you can kind of see that in his critique of the bourgeoisie and the elevation of the architects over planning. So he would also kind of agree with the lower classes driving or at least influencing how cities are planned and imagined. He gives a pretty scathing critique of classical humanism. One of the best quotes from the piece, I would say, is, "Its mummified and embalmed corpse weighs heavily and does not smell good." So he believes that cities even are kind of turning into these cultural cemeteries, and like odes to the past that no longer exists. And he talks about Nietzsche and how Nietzsche talks about how God is dead, man is dead, so this nihilistic tendency. He also talks about how the traditional city and the historical city is kind of in crisis, and that's the only thing that planners and people can really imagine right now, but it no longer exists. And at the same time as this traditional city's in crisis, he also talks about this rural area that's in crisis. And he thinks that it's rural imaginings, basically, that are in the value set of rural cultures, and agrarian cultures, are still dominating over the values of the city. He also talks about how rural culture used to be somewhere where there were festivities and creative activity, and we've somehow lost that in urbanity. He also talks about reforms that he thinks should be made to planning. And he says that we have to change the approaches and the tools that we use when we imagine cities. So the first thing that he talks about is transduction, which is creation of a theoretical object from reality. And the second thing that he says is that we're all utopians, basically, except for people whose imaginations are really very limited. But we have to consider utopia as experimental and kind of test the implications and the consequences on the ground, and not only strive for these really distinct, structured visions of utopia. Also, with his neo-Marxist tendencies, he's very into social and political change from the working class. He thinks that in urban strategy, only the group's revolutionary initiative can take over and realize the fruition of urban problems. So the social and political forces are the things that are going to renew the city. These are another picture of some working class folk. And he thinks that a big issue in his time is kind of segregation, because it's 1967. And he thinks that without the working class, segregation is not going to come to an end because integration has no meaning. He talks about kind of the aristocracy and how these people are the ones who live above and outside of the realm of everyday life. So they're the ones who aren't really even living in the cities, but the people who are going to have to be making these social changes because they somehow transcend urban life. He says that they basically fly castles to castles. So issues like segregation don't really affect these people. It's only the working class that can kind of rally for the rights of ages and sexes and working conditions, training, education, culture, everything like that. So he puts a lot of value on the necessity of the working class and those who live within the boundaries of the city to kind of drive urban planning and urban sociology. He also talks about how the architectural profession here has kind of gotten too elitist and how it's too insular in a way, and that criticism from the outside of the profession is not really effectively making change to it. So he talks about two propositions for urban planning, and he says that the political program of urban reform needs to be really, really free. So if you revise a strategy, you need to not hold that strategy above the criticisms that could improve it. And mature planning projects that are going to be created for current feasibility or urban or utopian aspect consider the way of living in the city, and you have to develop a plan based on living in the city. However, there's also a concurrent drive to the right to nature in his time, and he finds that it's the a sense of entitlement to leisure and escape from the city, and that you need a break from the concentration of people and activity and noise, and people are finding that they have this draw towards natural spaces while they live inside of urban spaces. However, he finds that this is a very negative effect, and that it's the natural atmosphere is getting destroyed by commercialization, industrialization, and institutionalization of organized leisure pursuit. So thus he thinks that we should have the right to the city. And he claims that the right to nature displaces the right to the city. So fleeing deteriorated and unrenovated cities and alienating people from urban life before giving it a real chance. He says that we need to ignore the Olympians of bourgeois aristocracy, and that you have to pay attention to the people who are like commuting and going through everyday life, and that this everyday life, while we depict it as something that's really mundane and miserable and just fleeing from one place to another, there have to be these moments. He calls them oeuvre. I believe it means masterpiece or work, and it's like a creative moment that overshadows and lets you transcend the everyday specialization of your tasks. So he says that we have to want the city to become an act and an oeuvre of complex thought, and that's kind of his take. And I'm going to pause this, hopefully, to avoid. All right, so concluding questions.
Very electronically savvy there.
I'm learning. He made suggestions for the improvement of urban planning, and in the work that we've read, have urban planners and sociologists since followed his advice. I was wondering how he would respond to cities targeting the creative class rather than catering to the working class, which is kind of what he's stressing. Also, he talks a lot about the dilemma of right to nature and right to the city. I was thinking about parks as a way to solve this, kind of giving people the right to nature within an urban space rather than taking over the natural space. And I also don't know what he would, if he would attribute urban sprawl to the right to nature, so people fleeing city centers and sprawling out in order to grasp more nature while somehow urbanizing natural space. That's it.